Alright, so the first thing I did was replace this headlight bucket. I don't know if you remember, but the original one, this whole section here was cracked off and gone, and it had cracks up here and cracks down here and everything. So the car actually came with a steel one. So that's cool. So a couple bolts down here, 2 bolts in here, and 3 screws that connect it to the fender here, here, and here. I didn't film it because it was a very, very awkward operation, and it wouldn't have come back very well on the camera. But yeah, that's done, and flat black for a while because I'm not going to worry about painting anything any other color because the whole car eventually will be painted. But yeah, that's the first thing. So another thing I got here is this frame that actually sits around the license plate that I guess was damaged during when this thing was rear-ended and got removed. But I picked up myself a used one for a decent price. It's not in best shape, actually. I think it goes like this, and I'm going to slap that in, so therefore I won't have these ugly gaps on each side of my plate. So I have to take these valances off, I guess. It's pretty simple. 3 screws on each side, and then use these 2 little clips you have to pop it out from, and then they slide right out. But due to the nature of the sheet metal in this car, when it was hit, it looks like I'm going to have to bend some of this up to get that plate cover to sit in properly. With a little bit of bending and such, I got the frame to squeeze in at the top. Unfortunately, this is not going to fit perfectly. This metal is pretty rigid, and I couldn't get it to flex that much. But hopefully, I think these are actually supposed to fit back there. But this is also pushed in. So I probably won't get this in perfectly, but as it sits now, it looks pretty decent. But we will see. So with some modification, I got the plate holder in place. So I got 2 screws here, got this little trim piece up top. And this is actually a plate holder for a 260Z, so it didn't fit up here properly, which is where I had to trim. I went ahead and modified it because the guy who sold it to me says all sales are final. Figures, I guess. Alright, the plate is sitting how it should. I don't have a plate frame yet, so it doesn't look as good as it could be. But another thing, I need to find some longer bolts, because these are just some makeshift things that were just stuffed in there. Because there's distance between the where the plate is and the mounts. Probably due to the fact that it was hit and everything is kind of pushed in. But I gotta find me some longer bolts. Once I do, we'll be good. Alright, got a couple bolts that fit, and now it is looking much better. Seems to be flush with the rest of the body, and I am flexing the plate a little bit. But as you can see from back here, the whole deal is kind of pushed back. So yeah, I guess that's about as good as we'll get. But I mean, all in all, it just looks like it should. And all I got to do to make it complete is get a frame, which I will at some point when it's relevant, because I have a lot of other things to worry about before I start putting finishing touches on this car. On to the next. Alright, I also picked up a genuine fan knob for just a few bucks on eBay, because why not? Just fits right on there with the little screw that goes in the bottom. And now all I need is to figure out why the fan's not turning on, and then it'll be functional. But for now, that looks better. So what I'm going to do now is take this ugly brown hood off, sand it down, and I'm going to paint it primer. So instead of having 4 different colors, we only have 3 different colors. So this will match that door, and it'll just look nicer. So it's pretty easy to how to take this off. You got 2 bolts on each side and a little bit of muscle, and it comes right off. I'm going to pop these vents out, repaint them black, and then sand the hood down like I said, and we'll get to painting. Alright, so just you hold that in place because it's gonna, right now it's gonna come to this side. When I loosen this up, he said. Whoa, wait, we got one more. Alright, ready, about to go. Okay. We'll put it right on top of here. Right on top of the inside. This way, Mark. Gotta come. Yeah. Oh, really? Is that too far away? Okay. Hood is in position. Got my orbital sander out, and gonna begin to strip this paint down and then clean it up and apply the primer. It's all sanded down to where it's even for the most part. A couple areas couldn't really do much about, like these chips here. These are really deep into the metal, and without stripping the paint entirely, I wouldn't be able to get that off, and that's something that I want to avoid doing. So fortunately, that's going to stay as is. But at this point, it is time to start applying some primer. So let's get to it. Alright, just finished the first coat and a half, and so far so good, except I thought I had 2 bottles of primer and I only have 1, and the issue is it is Saturday, 7 o'clock, and all the hardware stores are closed. So I'm going to have to postpone this for a bit, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to finish up, put the hood back on the car. Alright, well the hood is back on, vents are in, and it looks much better than that nasty golden brown it had. Now instead of 4 different colors, my car is only 3 different colors. Sweet, step in the right direction. So I got a couple pieces of metal and some texturized plastic, and I made this little faceplate here where the radio used to go, mainly just because all the wires sticking out and everything just didn't look too good, and it was kind of bothering me. And this, just because what the hell, looks nicer than not having anything here. It's just kind of sitting in there. 1/8 of an inch texturized plastic, drilled a hole for the cigarette lighter, and it's just kind of sitting there. It doesn't really move around a lot either, so that's all fine. And another thing I did was I got new access panel covers. These are off of a 280Z. That's parting out, and they're actually in really good shape, besides the paint fading a little bit. The other ones were kind of dented and wrinkled. These ones are really straight, and they just look a lot nicer. And this will come in later, once the whole car is painted. And for now, I think I'm pretty much almost done with the exterior. That, and we're replacing the door. I'll probably primer some areas here and there, but that's about it. I'm not going to buy anything additional, because then, I'm going to put my focus into modifying it and making it faster and working on the mechanics and such. So yeah, that'll be it for the cosmetics on this car for now. It's coming along nicely. It's just now it's time I put a lot more focus and time into making it faster and making it mechanically sound more so than it already is.